The 2 Cent Report!
And hello again after a very, very long absence, which I will blame Tristan for that. I'm introducing him today. His name is Tristan, and he's 1 Cent Tristan. And now he's just being silent. Okay. It's fine.
Well, you were introducing me. That was a very poor introduction. But yes, hello and welcome to the Poverty Multiverse. We shall be discussing many topics. Some of them may even be game related.
Some, but mostly not. I want to talk about fashion today. People still wear t-shirts, I believe.
We should get coffee shirts.
We should get coffee shirts. I know.
Hot chocolate shirts.
Fucking disgusting. I hate these people with their
they're pretentious shirts.
Also, I don't remember if you said my name. I know I said your name, but my name is Justin. So
yes,
or else you Lupus if you're a twat like me. So it's been a
see. This is why I don't do your introductions. You just do them perfectly.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, flattery will get you everywhere, Tristan. So, yeah, no, shit's just been busy, so that's why I hid away for a month. But now I'm back for the internet because I hate myself. I guess.
The internet's not that bad. It's the people behind the internet.
True, but you could say the same about everything, you know, Nazis, not that bad. The people behind Nazism. So you can say that about anything.
Yes, I agree.
As it's an abstract concept that doesn't have anything to... doesn't mean
anything. I agree, yes. The people behind it were bad, yes. but not the thing that they were doing.
It just reminds me of the National NRA in America with all their guns. It reminds me of they had like an old slogan which was guns don't kill people, people kill people. You know, yes, with guns. So
this is true. Although people have found many creative ways to kill people.
Very true.
This is why we have to have warning labels on everything.
Exactly. We should have warning labels on guns.
No joke. I actually I was strolling through the shop, my version of window shopping, and I saw a plunger with a warning label.
Oh, nice. What was the warning?
Something like, do not insert onto face for fear of suffocation or something like that. Basically, don't put the plunger on your face because you could lose air intake. It was hilarious, and it was from a discount store, so it was really funny.
You know, I mean, they've been putting warning labels on, like, say, poison forever. You would think that the word poison was a warning.
But they don't use they don't use poison per se. They'll use other words to because when people hear poison, they go eek, poison.
Yeah.
No.
It'll say something like antaway.
Or just toxic.
Or toxic.
When you realize that they list every orifice you could possibly insert it into, you know that it's going to kill you if you try it. Do not insert into eye. Do not insert into rectum. Do not insert into mouth.
You see, but this is why
keep away from children.
This is why I use plungers, though, Tristan. You don't put it over your face. Rookie move. You put it elsewhere. You see, it's basically a suction cup, so you can put it anywhere. Anyway, we should probably move on from this line of thought. Just be careful of splinters. Anyway.
I've got an all-plastic one.
You could get an all-plastic one, but I never really see those. This is also an absolutely pointless discussion.
Hey, I did say we might touch on game talk.
Yes, true. And I mean, there are certainly games you can play with a plunger, so it's all fine. But should we jump straight into the old newsy bits?
Yeah, sure.
Now, actually, first off, yes, it's been like a month, but really, to be honest, there hasn't been that much news, except for one company, who we'll get to at the end, who we've had multiple discussions about them. The best company that exists. But really, other companies seem to be keeping their heads down and just watching Activision-Blizzard burn from a distance. So, people seem to be keeping their heads down and making lots of acquisitions, because actually there's a fuckload this time. But first, before we get to acquisition, so actually, that's why I say there's actually really not that much news overall. There's straight up 10 acquisitions and 4 news stories. The first one.
You have a name to uphold, okay?
Exactly, we do. Now, first off, anyone who pays attention to video games over the past few weeks probably knows about the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition debacle. I'm sure you know about it, Tristan.
Oh yes, I've been keeping a close eye on that one.
Oh god.
A real close eye, because everybody knows I'm a huge fan.
Oh yes.
Of the franchise. So
massive fan.
I've been following it like a hawk.
Now,
to prove that there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
The thing is, the first thing, when it came out, I was just like, God, you people did a really shitty job. There were also all sorts of things with I don't know how closely you paid attention, but I saw things they used AI for a lot of upscaling, so they didn't have to do it individually, which has actually fucked up a lot of the jokes, visual jokes in the game. So yeah, that's just a stupid thing. Some of the cheats don't work for some reason. I don't know why you can't just make cheats work, but whatever. It really doesn't look pretty. I don't care about that. That doesn't matter.
When the game is buggy or not ready for release, when not even the cheat codes work. The cheat codes were designed to help the devs get through the game and beta testers to test the game.
Okay,
you can't even get those to work.
There was one bug that I heard about that's fucking hilarious. I don't know if you've heard about this bug. If you move your car left and right, rapidly, you steer left, steer right, steer left, steer right, your car slowly starts getting bigger. So it just expands in size, which I love. That's beautiful. That's glorious.
No, I've also seen that, and eventually they end up with this massive car.
which I can't steal the joke, so it is from the Podquisition, but they said, well, they did promise upscaling. So,
oh god,
it's beautiful.
There's also, it's also a case of, you look at all the other stuff, things that they had to take out. I mean, I'm not even going to mention taking out the songs because of copyrights and, deals fade and so on and so forth. But things that are I would say, as someone that loves the franchise so much, are essential are some of the songs. I mean, could you not cough up enough to pay whoever you need to pay to keep Billie Jean in what's it, Vice City?
I think it's in Vice
Could
City.
you not? I mean, the man's dead. He's not going to exactly oppose to it.
Yeah,
so
that's the one where on one hand I'm like, I understand licensing sucks, but on the other hand, you're one of the richest game companies in the fucking world. Surely.
Exactly. And it's they get the people that were taking the games and making them into mobile ports to do the remastered, right? I was expecting at least they would have used the instead of but it is a remastered. It is definitive edition. It's not a remastered. Sorry, because I would have expected them to not upgrade the engine but remake the game on the new engine. I'm not talking about the next GTA engine.
I'm talking about the GTA 5 one.
Yeah, exactly. Just to remake it on there, but no, they handed it over to this third party. But they've been using this company for a while. This Grove Street Games, and you get. I always say this: if you're gonna outsource work, you get what you deserve. That's what's happened with this definitive edition. I recently just watched a top 10 list of remakes that were utter failures, and that goes. There's when BioWare released Anthem, that game was heavily outsourced. Cyberpunk actually had a large amount of outsourcing going on with it. Explains its beautiful release. Yeah, it's just that there's a lot of companies that are not even they're such big companies, and they pushing their workers so much to produce crap.
Yeah.
That some of the games are not even being made by those companies anymore. They just have the license for it, and they allowing smaller companies, smaller studios to do this, and it's kind of fucking stupid. I'm going to be honest with you. It's like your legacy. Okay, I'm not talking so much about the outsourcing for like Cyberpunk and Anthem. I'm talking specifically about the GTA trilogy.
Yeah.
That is your flagship. That was your jump to 3D, and you fucked it up by handing your legacy to a third party when everything that made those games good was because Rockstar made them. Now, when you have Rockstar paying people to make Rockstar games, but they aren't Rockstar, it's already from that standpoint, it's an insult to the fans, I believe. And then you have the pricing for it, and then you have that the fuckers took the originals off the store.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a real slap in the face to the fans, the people that are paying for this, the people that have paid for these games. I mean, some of these people have the fucking GTA 5 on the first release on Xbox. They have the PC release, and they have the Epic release. You know, the one that released Epic, which was like definitive or whatever of that. But yeah, like that's real cock, eh? I'm just gonna say it, like that's really shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. There have been really good games that have been given to a third party, and the game does justice or does even better. Like for instance, with Half-Life and Black Mesa, what the Crowbar Collective did with Black Mesa is outstanding compared to Half-Life, and they actually kept the essence of the game. But what is happening here is a constant demand to resell nostalgia, but now they're not even doing it. They're not even hiding their greed for it anymore. They're literally just pumping out nostalgia just to earn more money. It's like one person did it, and then every company's business model is, okay, we got to pump out remasters, definitive editions. We got to do this. We have to do it. We're going to claim all the stuff, like we're going to fix original bugs. We're going to redo stuff. We're going to make the game better, but still the same. And they ended up fucking it up. And at the end of the day, those same companies will end up fucking it up, hurting their fan base. The fan base will pull away. The company will sort of go under, abuse their staff to keep up. And when the company does crumble, they'll get bailed out by the country that they're in to continue spreading this nastiness of stink.
However,
not a better word for it.
However, what is quite funny, because the first of that whole whatever, fuck up your remasters, I don't care, but leave the originals up. However, yes, they pulled them down. Did you see that they announced that they're gonna relist them because they're like, oh god, this didn't work. We're going to let people buy the originals again.
I did hear about that actually,
yeah.
And it made me laugh because I was actually thinking to myself, like, these guys had the cojones of Saturn's moons because they thought, after clearly someone had to have seen this product before it launched, and they thought that it would be such a good launch that it would be okay to remove the originals. You know, at least they're going to put it back up. Unlike some games, you know, like Warcraft 3, that we'll never see again because it's gone. Unless you do have the CD version or you're a pirate.
Yeah.
To us people that own it on Battle.net, it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you love companies? But yeah, that's the GTA story. I think you covered it quite substantially there. Well done.
Thank you.
for someone who's such a huge fan of the franchise.
Look, I may not like the game so much, but I don't believe in disrespecting your fans at all.
No, it's shitty.
And that was clear just disrespect.
Yeah. So, the next story is a bit different. This is actually from a couple of weeks back. Epic Games, they implemented during the pandemic a 4-day work week, which also has actually, it's actually been shown that a 3-day work week is actually the most efficient, because then people actually just work during that time rather than killing a bunch of time. They did a 4-day work week and people were really happy about it because of the pandemic, blah, blah, all's good, great. Yeah, now Epic has decided, cool, we're going to go back to 5 days, and people are just kind of pissed off at them. Which is, I just think, is something that it's worth looking at to be like, listen, it actually is more efficient to have fewer work days, actually.
Yeah.
But these companies sort of refuse to acknowledge that that's reality. Yeah. God.
Yeah, because remember they're still on that business model of if you work hard, you'll reap your reward, and they're on that you have to work hard and you need to put in the hours, and it doesn't look like you're making much effort if you're not putting in the hours, because that's the only way. Hours are the only way a company can justify to itself that the employee is doing their job without looking or consulting the employee's performance. You know,
yeah,
that's a dead set way of knowing that an employee is, because if someone is working long hours, it obviously must mean that they're doing something.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm also a big fan of a shortened work week. I personally, I look at balancing my work life, so I won't work. Okay, I'm allowed to because I have a flexi schedule, so I refuse to work where I'm working 4 hours, I will break 4 hours. I'll work 2 hours, take a half an hour break, another 2 hours, take a half an hour break, another 2 hours. And I'll do that because it helps reset my mind. And anything that I'm bogged down with, I know I have to progress. So anything I'm bogged down with, I take a break, go out for a smoke or something, and I think it over. And I work it out so that when I come back, I do more work in those 2 hours than I would if I sat there for 4 hours.
Yeah. No, it's the best way to do it. But when you go to a job, it's usually like an 8-hour work day, and you'll have 3 hours of work, an hour of break, and then 4 hours afterwards, and it's just shit. And it shouldn't exist.
No, I fully agree with you. It is shit, but it will change. I've got a feeling it will change. I know that it's probably not going to, but I want to believe that there is a possibility of change.
With time,
always
with time, but there's only so long you can ignore research and evidence, because we know that basically you are at your most productive for 3 hours a day, and then your productivity goes down regardless of the break you take. So really, if you were working, say, 3-hour work days, 3-hour work weeks, you would get more done than if you were working 8 hours. Also because you go in, I have 3 hours to do my work, you'll do all your work, and then go the fuck home.
Yeah. And if you think about it, with this new epiphany that companies are having where you could work from home, right? It saves on travel, and yes, it's quite a bit stifling if you are one that likes to travel or likes to be out of the house, But that said, you save costs on property, like on office blocks and stuff. And if you're a company that rather prefers to work like that, then at least you save costs on running. Then you only have to pay for electricity use for a certain time slot in a day. No longer is it, someone works 8 to 5 o'clock, and then they go home and do the same thing over and over again. You're burning up bills. You're generating electricity and water costs. At least with shorter work hours, people work when they're at work. They're most efficient. There's no dawdling around because they know they've got to get shit done. And then after that, they go home, to which then they can relax, they can go for a walk or do whatever they want. And, it also saves the company costs. And I think they really need to start looking at it like that rather than saying, oh no, but we can have better control over them if they're in the system.
One day. I mean, I'm working from home now as one. It's just so much better. My God.
Yeah, exactly.
No commute. I don't have to talk to humans with their disgusting mouth holes.
I do miss my commutes when I was on the My City bus or car. I don't miss the train because I really don't miss the preachers on the train. So I'm happy with that. I would say I did kind of use the commuting to kind of blow off some steam, before I get home.
Yeah.
And also use it to, like, especially if I'm traveling with somebody from work, we would talk about things of work. So when we get home to our respective homes, we don't have to like immediately tell the first person we see of how horrible a day was or something.
Yeah.
Or how brilliant it was.
No, there are.
So yeah.
There are upsides to it, but I think ultimately when your commute is like an hour each way, it's an extra 2 hours of your day where you just lose. It sucks. But anyway, yeah. So, are you ready for the next news story, good sir?
Yeah.
This one is probably quite small, but just interesting. Also, because I did not know that they were not public. But Devolver Digital, the publisher that published things like Carrion and all sorts of, Hotline Miami, lots of indie games, they've gone public. So now they're, open to stock options. And they immediately got valued at just below $1 billion. So, not bad for a little, what started out as basically just a publisher for indie titles, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Like, I'm actually really impressed by that.
I mean, there's no Ubisoft or anything, but...
Yeah, but, people need to stop putting Ubisoft on its own pedestal. It's also...
Although, if you remember from a while back when we basically first learned what Roblox actually was, and then we discovered that when it went public, it became worth like 4 Ubisofts, and we're like, what the fuck?
Okay, you see, that's fair. That is fair. But at the same time, I still don't like think that Ubisoft is as good as it should be for it to run. Like the way they go on, it's easy to forget. Sorry, I should say that these companies earn a lot of money. The way they go on with, oh no, we can't afford to pay you. Oh no, cost cuts. You would swear that they had no way to pay their staff. Yeah. And then you look at the income, you're like, oh no, that's a lot of money.
Well, actually, we'll get to some of that stuff when we speak about our old friend Activision-Blizzard at the end of the podcast, because that all comes up there. But yeah, these companies, they have money. They all have money. They can pay their people. But they have, like 5 executives that need to be paid really well. So, God.
Hey.
Thinking people deserve a living wage. What a load of bullshit.
No. See, that's where you have it wrong, right? They're not executives, right? Because executives implies that they got nothing better to do than soak up the money. They are highly valued and essential workers.
True. They are essential workers. We should have made them be cashiers during the pandemic.
Cashiers during the pandemic.
I say during the pandemic, that is still going on. But anyway.
But does it really feel like it? Not really.
I know. It kind of feels like it sort of died away here. Other than masks. It
was just a phase, man.
Yeah, all the not irritating conservative people have gotten their vaccines by now. Anyway, so Tristan, are you ready?
Yes. Maybe.
It's acquisition time.
Ooh, we should have like a acquisition montage.
Acquisition.
Okay, hit me with it. Let's go.
Okay.
Fire them off.
First one. Grasshopper manufacturers. They are the guys who made No More Heroes, Killer 7. I don't know if you know them at all.
I've heard of No More Heroes, yes.
Okay. So they've been...
Not Killer 7, though.
Yeah, so they've been acquired by NetEase, which is one of those, conglomerate-y type of companies. Let me actually just make sure what all NetEase does. But they got acquired by them, which now they've said because they've been acquired, we are going to, be building up more. That's basically that's the story you always hear. They're like, oh yes, we're going to be building up more now. And you're like, okay, cool.
All right.
You do that.
We'll see. You do you.
You do you. Yeah, but they're one of these giants. Yeah, I thought they're one of those gigantic Chinese companies. So, yeah.
What'd you say the name was?
NetEase. They also
they got weird names, eh? But they got those like I'm gonna scam you names.
Yeah, NetEase, ByteDance,
Tencent. I'm gonna scam you names. I get anxious when I hear that. Luckily, my wallet's just my card because I'm too poor to afford cash.
Exactly. So that's the first acquisition. Acquisition number 2 is that Unknown Worlds, the people who made Subnautica, they have been acquired by Krafton, which is also one of these big companies. But yeah, let me actually just make sure what all Krafton does, because I recognize the name, but with these kind of conglomerate-y companies, you're always like, okay, what? You all sound the same, and I can never remember who's who.
Is it because they're Chinese companies? Is that why you're saying that?
This one's actually a South Korean company, you racist prick.
Oh, you racist piece of trash! How dare you? How dare you assume that all of them are Korean?
So they for instance own the people that made PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. So I mean they've obviously got money. Most of their ones they just own a bunch of studios mostly, which is what most of these fucking people do. They own companies that a lot of the time, this is my thing that you get a lot of the time with these companies. They're like, they own companies you've never heard of because these companies are worth like billions because they're all hyper casual companies that make games you've never fucking heard of, but they're all over the mobile market and making lots of money. So they're one of those.
Is that jealousy I hear?
Always.
You can make lots of money if you put your mind to it.
I'll put my mind to it. I'll do my best. Another one of them is actually that Zynga, which is also already a casual game company. They bought up 3 Turkish hyper-casual game studios. Once again, they're studios you never would have heard of before, but Zynga's one. I think Zynga did Farmville. So, big hyper-casual games. You've never heard of the companies that make them, but they make billions of dollars. Although this is often the funniest thing. Whenever you look up, if you've ever done this, look up the richest companies in the world, and there'll be names you've never fucking heard of. You're just like, huh. And then it turns out that company owns the banks, and you're like, oh. I see.
Okay.
I see. You own things I've heard of, but I've never fucking heard of you.
But the thing is, that's a very popular practice because it takes I wouldn't say the heat, but it takes the heat off the main people causing all these problems.
Yeah, it does. Anyways,
because you never naming them outright. So they were like, "Oh no, he named me." No. They're very, very secretive, and I think I think I would be too, honestly, with the amount of shit that these people. Eventually with all these acquisitions, I'm waiting for the time where they're gonna appear in our naughties list. The CEO has gone mad.
You know what though? This doesn't happen because especially Chinese billionaires keep themselves very under the radar. You never hear anything that they do.
Except for that one that disappeared
Okay.
after speaking out.
Yeah, but that's it's the ones who toe the line, the ones who don't speak shit about the Communist Party. They like stay fine. They're like, no, I've got my billions. I don't need to fucking say stupid shit. I'll just be quiet and everything will be fine. And it is for them. So, yeah. But speaking of big...
Oh, yes. Good old oppression. Works perfectly every time.
That's great. Speaking of big companies, Microsoft, they bought a company we've also never heard of. It's called Two Hat. But they're a moderation company. They have moderation tools, for things like the Xbox, live services. So they'll pretty much be doing that kind of security-ish work. I just never really see those kind of things popping up. So when I saw it, I was like, interesting.
I don't know if this is actually on your list of news, but I did hear I did see an article. I won't say hear a rumor because it feels more like a rumor, but I did see an article of our old friend AB Activision-Blizzard, but mainly Blizzard side, about World of Warcraft coming to consoles.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
I just thought that was super interesting, seeing as people literally have to map out new buttons. They have to buy mice with buttons.
Yeah.
In order to play that game. How many hotkeys can you make on a controller?
Well, usually I know the way it works. Like, say, when you're playing on PC, like say in the old days, first-person shooters where you had like 10 guns, they were always mapped to the number keys. And then when it came to consoles, they're like, oh well, shit, we can't do that. So they first try to do the weapon wheel thing where it slows down time so you can select your weapon from a weapon wheel. And they also started that other evil fucking thing where they were like, oh no, you only get to have 2 guns.
I take it you really don't like that one.
Fuck, I swear. I like the idea of just being like, because you always get those assholes who are like, oh, but it's not realistic for them to have 10 guns. I don't give a shit. It's better. it's literally more fun to just have lots of shit rather than being like, oh, I have to cycle through my 2 guns.
Okay, I mean, I don't mind it so much if they give you the option to swap out, so you can find the guns that you like and then just keep them. Yeah, but I do miss the days, of having multiple weapons on your belt. But then also, you can't have a game that has multiple weapons on the belt without an insane amount of enemies or health to take down, because the whole point of that is forcing the player to have to use them, to run out of ammo on the one and to use the other one. So I like that aspect, but a lot of the games choose to do more of a... You know where it died? It died with the cover shooter. That's where the multiple weapons died.
Yes.
Because the cover shooter, there was always ammo around, there was always cover, and there was no need, and there was time. You could take your time through battles and take them out. And round about when Gears came out, that's when you started seeing people starting to shift to this two weapon system, where it's where you only have 2 weapons and it works. And then Halo did the same back then. Try to spearhead that thing. So if you have someone to blame Bungie as well.
Bungie, and I would also say, although what happened was, well, to me, I went into 2 weapon slot thing, and then people started realizing that they could be like, no, 2 weapons kind of sucks. What if you could have 4 weapons? And with 4 weapons, I really don't have a problem. Like say something like Borderlands has a 4 weapon slot system.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Also because it's strategic. You're being like, I strategically want to have these weapons. Also, you can still carry all the weapons and just equip them.
Exactly. So my thing was, it's also the fact that it's that they're using these multiple drops, picking up weapons, dropping weapons. That also kind of killed it, because the whole point was you get a new weapon, but back then there was no dropping system. You would just get the weapon and it'll be added to your inventory so you can use it when you have ammo or for it. And the whole thing of there being so many, especially with the looter shooters, with there being so many possibilities of weapons, there's no way you can bind people to one weapon, or 4 weapons, or 10 weapons, because there's so many options. And with the bonuses and stuff, so looter shooters also kind of solidified, that it's better to rather have more, to have a certain number of slots and an infinite amount of weapons, or not infinite, but a very large amount of weapons.
Yeah. No, I think it's...
it all has its place within.
It all has its place. But when it comes to Bulletstorm had the old 3-weapon slot system, I think. Or did I have 4-weapon slot? I think 3 or 4-weapon slot, I can't remember. But we were like, okay, fine, cool, I've got my weapon slot. Then it came to PC, and they were like, yeah, we're doing like the definitive edition thing. And now there's a new mode where you can have all the weapons from the beginning, and you don't have to do that irritating cycling system. And it makes it into a better game.
Who would have thought, eh? Who would have thought?
It is so much more entertaining to be like swapping between all of your different, wacky ass weapons to fight with. It's just so much better. But anyway, should we move on to the next one? Because we have our old friend, Tencent, is back. However, Tristan, not to be outdone, Tencent was like, all right, cool, we know that the 2 Cent report is going to be away for a while, so we're not going to do one acquisition. We're going to do 3. So they bought 2 companies that are quite big and one company that I've never heard of before. The one I've never heard of before is called Wake Up. It's a Japanese studio, but they worked on games like Travis Strikes Again, which came out like a while back, and Devil's Third. They're like, I know the games, I don't really know, like I never played them, but I've heard of them, So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. The other 2, which are kind of bigger ones. So they did not acquire these companies, but they bought large stakes in them. Playtonic is the company that made Yooka-Laylee. And I actually before...
How do you feel about that?
Well, before we move on, I must actually mention Yooka-Laylee. Because started playing Yooka-Laylee, and I was so excited because like that was like literally the genre I grew up with, mascot platformers. I even have a tattoo that the good Tristan designed that has 4 mascot platformers on it, and so I was like, oh yeah, it's really exciting. I get it. Turns out it's not really inspired by the ones I played, the Sony ones. It's inspired by the Nintendo ones, which I never played, and I have now realized that I never want to play them because they're clearly not what I would give a shit about, because it's literally just, here's big world, find things. It's basically just lots and lots of mini games. It has really shitty controls. I was so disappointed but it does also do that thing, I know you weren't really a PlayStation person, but I'm sure you would have seen some of them back in the day. Especially Nintendo games did this, where there's no voice acting. You go up to someone, you talk to them, and they just go like, and then you read what they're saying. It does that kind of thing.
Okay, yes, I can understand.
So
I mean, it's harsh, but
I was so disappointed, and I played it for like 3-4 hours. I got to, I think, the 3rd world. There's only 5 worlds, because I looked it up. I was like, how many worlds are there? I got to the 3rd world, and I still fucking hated it, and I was like, fuck. Alright, I guess I'm done then. So I deleted it. Which...
You've been doing that a lot this year, hey? Just Cause, and now Yooka-Laylee. You are
Just Cause. Fuck, I forgot about Just Cause. That was also a fucking disappointment. Jesus. Oh, the first one is so stupid. But beautiful. Anyway, Playtonic. They did also make it like a second sort of Yooka-Laylee. That's a 2D one, which I would like to give a try because I like 2D platformers.
But
I haven't tried it yet, so we'll see. But anyway, they bought up Tencent bought up a stake in Playtonic, which Playtonic was one of those companies that was mostly funded through crowdfunding. So I'm sure this is great for them in terms of funding. So that should be nice. The other company, now this isn't even a majority share. I think I don't know how much. It's quite a small share, I think. Yeah, it's like a less than 7% share in From Software, the peeps who made Dark Souls. So
interesting.
So yeah, they've acquired some of that, which I haven't heard like them really say anything about it, but I'm like, okay, cool.
Your enthusiasm in this.
You know what? I doubt it's going to change anything. That company has always just been sort of chilling around, being like, cool.
I mean, like, what? Like, the thing is, you nailed the impression for me as well, because I also felt that they weren't really. I mean, like, they're in the industry, but they're one of those people that are like, you know what? There's being in the industry, and then there's playing the industry game, and they seem just not really interested in like the competition. I mean, you got those big AAAs that are, how do I explain it? They're basically failing. They're failing because they're getting more and more greedy, and there's no point in competing with them because they've got so much money that they will outcompete you just on that level.
Yeah.
So, but if you're making a product that people like, you can fucking chill. You don't have to impress anybody, because your goal is to impress your fans.
Yeah. And also, one of the things I remember those when which one was it? I think it was Bloodborne. When Bloodborne came out, they said, "Oh, we've sold 1 million copies," and I mean it's more now, but they were like, "Yeah, we sold 1 million copies," and they were like, "Yeah, we're quite happy with it. It's quite a success." And then you get like, was it Square Enix? When they released the third Lara Croft game of the reboot, like trilogy, it sold something like 3 or 4 million, and they were like, it undersold. It was a disappointment.
Cancel.
So, yeah, you can definitely see that, like, From Software. From Software is not a very big like company. They don't actually make that much money in comparison to these other ones. They make very niche games. So
yeah, but like still, I mean, looking at it, right, the that whole business model of it in our eyes is like, oh my god, it made so much money, and they go, oh, it didn't make it was a disaster, utter failure. What annoys me, as I would say most, is that it's not like movies where you get to see how much every game costs to make and how much they made to give your own assumption of how much of it is a failure. So their projections that some dude in a suit just decided, okay, well, this is going to be big. We need to sell the shit out of this. And yeah, they got what they deserved. I mean, like, to be fair, a lot of Western-made movies, if it doesn't do, American movie, if it doesn't do well locally, it's considered a failure, even if it does well internationally. So,
although that has somewhat started to shift with China, especially also the games industry. America was always the big boy, but now China is actually a bigger market than America. So if it does well in China, you're sorted.
China's so big they had to impose curfews for gaming.
Yeah, no. Before that,
it's so big. Shame. Let me not make fun of that.
The next
probably had a good reason.
The next acquisition
there wasn't enough praising.
The next acquisition is actually probably maybe you've heard about it because it's Unity. Mm-hmm. Have you heard anything about this? About Unity acquiring something?
No, I haven't actually.
So
my head's been down with regards to that. Yeah.
So they are going to be acquiring. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Weta or Weta. It's WETA. So Weta, whatever. Weta Digital, which I'd never heard of. But the reason Now, first off, it's $1.63 billion, which is not a small amount of money that they're acquiring her for.
By any account.
But the thing that really made me go, oh, is that this company was founded by Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings.
The Lightning Thief.
Not that one. That's Percy Jackson. God, I don't even know the names of these people.
No. The reason why I said that is it was basically an uncontrolled response to my friend who actually did that exact same thing and got them mixed up. So yeah, nice. I've been speaking to them a lot. So replies like that are too common now. It makes me sound stupid.
But yeah, so apparently these tools are going to be coming to Unity. It's things for 3D art creation and VFX assets.
That's going to be cool. I'm actually looking forward to it. I like, I've been tempted by Unreal and all its fanciness and the massive money that Epic is putting into it, acquiring things like ArtStation and things like that to really boost up its repertoire, its arsenal of features. But to me, Unity's always felt like the underdog, and when you do something just as great in Unity as you can in Unreal, it feels better. Also, I have most of my coding experience with C#, so, and especially C# for Unity's sake. So I just like how it's set up. So for me, it's moved away from, oh yeah, which one has the bigger the bigger schlong in the argument, and more to which one is my preferred software.
Oh.
I can grow up too,
Yeah, look at you.
I can put on those big boy pants.
You can. I believe in you. So the next acquisition is Tinybuild. So Tinybuild, I don't know if you know Tinybuild.
No.
They're one of those companies that sort of they focus on sort of smaller games. I know one of their recent games they published was that Hello Neighbor game. I don't know if you know it, but
Hello Neighbor.
Yeah, it was like a thing that was pretty much geared specifically at streamers. Where you basically in like your neighbor's house, you're like a kid and he's chasing you around. I don't know. I don't pay attention to these kind of things.
Whoa! Like Dennis the Menace kind of levels?
I think so,
more,
but he's kind of menacing.
I should call the police kind of.
I don't actually know. I just know he's kind of menacing, and if he catches you, and like a lot of horror games that did that, like Amnesia and stuff, where there's something following you. It's like that, but less horror. And
in this case, it's the person whose property you're on, the tenant of. I don't know how to put it. You are the villain in this. Why would you? But okay, fine. Carry on.
So, they acquired the publisher of the Banner Saga. I don't know if you know the Banner Saga.
The Banner Saga?
Banner Saga. I've never played it, but it looks so beautiful, and I've always wanted to play it. They're basically like these. They're Norse sort of inspired as this like cartoon visual aesthetic. Kind of looks like. I don't know, something like Ralph Banksy kind of look to it. I think you might look like the look of the vibe. It's sort of characters going on like a journey, but I haven't played it, so I don't know. I just remember always wanting to, and now the third one is out, and I was like, God, I've still played the first one. But yeah, it was one of those early success stories on Kickstarter. It was one of those ones from when Kickstarter really first, kicked off. So they acquired them. And they acquired some testing studio called Red Cerberus. So that's just a
Red Cerberus.
Yeah, they're just they're like a QA studio.
That's even worse. Don't have a cool name and then have a lame fucking service that you offer. Shame on them. Yeah, that actually just pisses me off. I hate companies like who undersell. And I especially hate those who oversell. Like, if you have a really cool name and you're doing shit like marketing, no. Like, but then you get those ones that are just pointless names. Names that don't make sense. Like Tencent. I don't know what it means because it's probably in a different language than what I'm thinking of Tencent. But
I don't know.
it doesn't inspire. Even maybe it's because I don't know what it means, but like the actual sounds that come out of my mouth when I pronounce it doesn't sound inspiring at all.
Yeah, and then you get companies with cool names like Sucker Punch
or Double Fine.
Oh.
Or my favorite one is Rocket Jump.
Rocket Jump is a great name. I'm trying to think who.
But there are some cool names, right? Some are a bit soured now, but there were some cool names. Like for me, Blizzard will always be a really cool name for a studio. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've had that imagery of the logo phasing in from electricity in my head, like burnt into my mind. But I like the name. I like the name of studios that put effort into really being part of making games. Like I feel like a bit about being in the game industry is you have to have a cool name.
Yeah. No, I mean I think that's also for some reason with me with Sierra, who aren't even like around anymore. I don't think. If you remember Sierra.
No, I remember them, but they aren't around anymore.
But anyway, Epic Games, who that to me feels like they're trying a little bit too hard with their name. Oh yeah, we make Epic Games. Okay, relax, Tim.
Or what's the overcompensating one? Oh yeah, Big Huge Games.
Yes, Big Huge Games. Didn't they also go under?
Yeah. No, they did. Big Huge Games.
Shame.
But the thing is, there was essence to it. Like for me, like Electronic Arts always stood out as being, it came from that stage where people were starting to move away from putting soft in their name of their companies if they worked with computers, So I think Electronic Arts is it's not exciting at all.
Also, no one calls that anymore. It's just EA.
Yeah, EA. And then in my mind, challenge.
They don't. But they don't want you to accidentally think they're making art. That's ridiculous.
No. Of course not. Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, I've never, doesn't inspire anything in me.
No.
But there are some really cool, like there's that, like a Bethesda for me. It's just no.
Bethesda's named after a place, though.
Yeah, I know, but still, stupid name. They also, I mean, come on. I mean, like, I remember playing games from gas-powered games.
Or machine gun games.
Oh, I mean, like, even machine gun game. Even what's that oldie that made the Command and Conquer? Westwood still sounds kind of cool.
It does.
Even though it's, again, named after it sounds cool. It's, yeah, you have to have a cool sounding studio.
You need to set yourself up somewhere with a cool name.
Yeah, exactly.
And then call yourself that, because you don't want to be called Fishhook Studio.
Sounds like I'm going to get a cavity search if I go in.
So, Epic Games, they acquired a name I have not heard in a long time, and I was like, oh god, they're still around. They acquired Harmonix. I don't know if you know Harmonix.
No.
They made Rock Band.
That's why I don't know.
Yeah, the one that tried to take down Guitar Hero, and then it all fell apart.
Came crashing down.
It did. Shame. I mean, they were releasing like 2 of those games a year. It was gonna crumble.
Huh. 2 of those. Were you saying, they were releasing it too many games?
Yes. Well, the Guitar Hero.
Someone should tell Nintendo that.
Yes, but Nintendo's different. Nintendo has been banking on nostalgia for the last 40 years, so they'll keep doing that, and it'll be fine. Because I remember seeing a thing where it said they can operate in the red for something like 20 years before they run out of money. So they have money to survive.
I also think that with them, it's a lot different in the sense that they don't need to appeal to the Western market. They're making a fuck ton of money doing so, but they really don't. They could make the games completely in Japanese, and people will still buy them.
Well, fuck, Atlas does that, and no one gives a shit when, like, the Persona games come out. They're, like, in Japanese, and they're just like, yeah, fucking have your Japanese things. It has English subtitles. And people are like, oh, so excited.
I mean, like, I like the authenticity of that. Like, I find it weird when I'm playing, like, say I'm playing an RTS game, and I choose a faction. I think it's because Age of Empires instilled this in me, that if you play a faction, they answer you in their language.
Mm-hmm.
And then you play something like, I recently played, playing again, I finished again, Stronghold, Warlords. And they speak English, but in a very racist accent, as according to your one video. And it gets to me because you click on them and they all got their very accentuated way of speaking English, but then you click on the children, and the children are British, but like proper, and I'm like, what?
That's great. Well, I mean, you could just look at, like, Red Alert for that, where you get the American side, and then you get the Russians who all speak with a Russian accent. Yes, Commander. It's always great.
Yeah, no, it's thing is, that's still fun.
It is still fun.
But it's fun, but there is a point. But like you've mentioned before, it's just become sort of socially accepted.
Yeah.
That English is allowed to have accents and not be racist or stereotypical.
Unless it's certain accents. Like how I do show in that video where I'm like, imagine watching an anime set in Japan and they're like, oh, I'm going to go have a sushi now. You'd be like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
although I do still laugh when they speak English.
Okay, it is
because
great.
It's not really English; it's actually their version of English.
Yes,
the interpretation of
it's fucking great. It's beautiful. And I love that they still keep the subtitles because like fucking English people can't understand this. It's not fucking English, man.
Oh god.
Oh, shame. But anyway, we're on our last acquisition, and it leads very nicely into our friend, because Activision-Blizzard acquired something. They
a lawsuit
acquired one of those two. Don't get ahead of yourself. They acquired some mobile studio called Digital Legends that I've never heard of, and they made a game called Respawnables, which I've never heard of. But
oh god,
this
what
leads,
game? What, oh no!
But this leads nicely into Activision-Blizzard. So there's
wait. Before you talk about that, let's just look at the prospect of what's to come. If they've bought a studio that does mobile games, the fan base wasn't too pleased with Diablo. So what are they thinking? Maybe because I mean the team working on Hearthstone, they're pretty good. But why acquire? What purpose?
I believe the reason.
What intention?
The reason, and actually, you probably wouldn't know, is because why would you give a shit? Like I don't. The only reason I know is because of my students. There is a Call of Duty mobile game, and they're going to be working on that, on the Call of Duty stuff. Yeah, so we don't need to care. This is the Activision side of Activision-Blizzard.
Yeah, but yeah, okay.
So,
okay,
are you ready?
Continue. Not really, but disappointment all around, I guess.
Okay, so Activision-Blizzard, we already know all the shit, bunch of lovely rapey stuff going on there, harassment, all the greats, all the things that these giant companies seem to love to do. And of course, they're facing a lawsuit over it, which is great. And then they tried to have a lawsuit stopped. One of the lawsuits, there's like 2 or 3 lawsuits, and it wasn't. So that's going ahead. But this is still happening. We still don't have any actual news on any of these. We have no news on any of these lawsuits. All the news is not lawsuit related. This is how much shit has been happening. So they decided, okay, fuck, things aren't going very well. Let's maybe pause BlizzCon because there might be issues if we do BlizzCon. Maybe people will be angry again, like they were last time when we banned that guy for speaking up about Hong Kong. So let's maybe keep our heads down. And you're like, okay, cool. All fine. They also hired it was like the first executive who was a woman of color. And they were like, cool, you're going to be like helping fix our toxic environment. She quit after less than 4 weeks saying it can't be fixed. Not great.
That's like, you know what that reminds me of? I'm not trying to be racist here, but that's just like, hey, I'm going to hire a black person so I can have my affirmative action satisfied.
It kind of it reminds me of the obviously only South Africans would know this, but Outrageous, the comedy compilation movie where John Vlismus, South African comedian, he says that the election of Barack Obama was one of the most racist things America's ever done. You play with you play with the country till it's fucked and then throw it to a black man. See, they break everything. It's like that. So
it's shocking. I'm not gonna lie. It is fucking shocking, to say the least. Because oh my god.
Tristan, don't worry. It's fine.
It gets worse.
Okay. No. How dare you? Bobby Kotick, the man with actual horns on his head, has come out to be like, until this has been resolved, I will take a pay cut. I will be paid the minimum wage. Now, first off, he mostly makes his money, it's not through salary that he makes his money, he makes most of his money through stocks, so it doesn't really mean anything. And also, it wasn't actually minimum wage. He was still being paid more than a minimum wage as his salary. So you get like other CEOs, you see this often. It's actually a way of dodging taxes, but they try and pretend it means that they look good. People like Elon Musk, for instance, take a $1 annual salary for being like CEO of places.
Yeah, but all his money is actually in shares.
Exactly,
yeah,
so it doesn't mean a fucking thing. But yes, so the funny thing is he decides, I'm going to take a pay cut, I'm going to get the minimum wage, and it wasn't even minimum wage. So, cool. Thanks, Bobby. And
yes, but you can't blame him for that, okay?
No, of course not.
First of all, you cannot blame him for that, because he has a certain lifestyle that he has to meet. You can't blame him for trying to at least keep his lifestyle.
Exactly. Exactly. Also, we know
he's not used to eating food without golden shades.
No, exactly. He also, as we know, he's already struggling with dating because whenever people do,
you really laying that one thick, hey? You love that. That's your favorite news.
I think it's fucking hilarious. Anyway, so they were like, okay, fuck, things aren't going well. What can we do? What can we do? Okay. We're going to pay our contractors better. Activision-Blizzard
but what about the
actual Tristan? It has all been fixed. We can start drawing halos on Bobby Kotick's head instead.
But you... What about the permanent staff? What about the non-contractors?
Maybe it'll also pay them better. Who fucking knows?
Okay, and then, obviously, my next point, that doesn't solve the problem.
No, it doesn't. But don't worry. Bobby is
But
still...
they had a woman of color there, so she was supposed to. It's not their fault that she couldn't handle it.
No.
This is why we do not. This is why we do not hire people of color,
Exactly.
because they just can't do the job.
This is why it's only straight white males, only people who can do a job. So
female staff are there to look good and make the males feel good. That's the only reason.
Obviously. So Bobby, I must finally criticize him a little bit, because the Wall Street Journal did an expose, and it turns out that he's been covering up, because he claimed, I was unaware. I didn't know about all the sexual misconduct and the worker who killed herself after, being sexually assaulted. I didn't know about any of this. It turns out he personally, stopped some people from getting fired. So he did know. And also it turns out that he did a couple of these things himself, including apparently sending an email to a woman saying that he was going to destroy her, which I do love how these people have weirdly hyperbolic ways of saying things. They sound like a Bond villain. I will destroy you, woman.
I will end you. Yeah, well, that's just fear. Honestly, they're so scared that they're willing to threaten someone like that.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
I mean, wouldn't you say that, the best thing for instead of cutting paychecks and paying people more and hiring people of color, maybe they should focus on the issue? Because it seems like they're putting on the show to repent, but not actually addressing the sins that they have committed. You know what I mean? It's like,
Tristan, this is crazy talk.
I go to AA meetings every week. I haven't had a sip of alcohol in years, right? But I just can't find the money anymore. I mean, this crack addiction is killing me.
Well, he's a billionaire. What do you expect? No,
that's another thing. He actually doesn't even need the monthly income.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't need a monthly income. So it's weird that he even wanted the minimum wage thing. Why doesn't he do the $1 thing?
And they couldn't even take that shame out of that.
But anyway. So of course, people started calling for him to be fired, for him to be replaced. And what's actually hilarious is literally the day before this came out, the board and Bobby Kotick instituted things saying, we now have zero tolerance for harassment. And then the next day this came out and the board were like, fuck. Bobby doesn't count. He's not a person. He can't be fired.
He's an entity.
So currently, maybe this will change. If shit gets bad enough, it could change. But at the moment, they're trying to keep him. But of course, there's been lots of calls for him to be kicked out. And then the other thing, which you never fucking see this, is a bunch of fucking game companies came out, big ones. Like, I think Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo all basically criticized them. And the only time you ever see game companies criticizing big ones is when it's like indies. You don't see fucking corporations coming out and being like, fuck, that corporation fucked up. That doesn't happen. So, interesting.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I mean, like, maybe it's kind of funny. I know that the issue itself isn't funny, but I think it's kind of funny when we look at it. You've got three types of companies. You got companies that are saying, we do not fucking want anything to do with this, and they just kind of living in la la land. Okay, I take that back. Those companies that normally do that are normally smaller companies, not the big guys, right? So let me just rework this. You get one company, the one type of company that is just fucking bad, going Sodom and Gomorrah levels of sin, right? Then you've got the companies that everybody turns to and like, oh, that's an example of how to do things, because they're just so good at hiding their own skeletons, right? And then you get the company that honestly actually doesn't have anything bad, doesn't need to show off because the people already know that they're good, and then eventually like, wait a minute, if we're friends with you, that's gonna make us look bad, so yeah, let's let's rethink our relationship. And hopefully it helps. I mean, like, if fans, if their clients pull out and their customers pull out, maybe the message will be received that instead of adding benefits that should already be fucking benefits to the employees, like getting paid better, you know what I mean? Should already be and exist in that space as a way of trying to move away or repent, but then not solve the actual issue. It's gonna, I mean, like, think about this. They're the top brass at those companies are in a bit of a pickle.
A little bit.
If they don't fire these people, they get a bad rep and the company goes down because it eventually will run out of money if clients and customers pull out. If they do fire those people, what do those people have on them that can sink the company? Because think about, let's just say, what is actually keeping Bobby Kotick there? It's not because he does such a great job, because there's a lot of scumbags just like him that can do the exact same job and get paid the exact same amount. So what does he know? Or what is he protecting from the world? You know, like what does he know, like, about the directors, about the finances, sirs. So you know what I mean, right? Like
financiers.
Yeah, there we go. That's the one. What does he know that's keeping him in that? It can't be because he's just so good that they have to keep. No, I call bullshit. There are some ties that either there's somebody in the top brass made a call to put him on the seat, and as such they have to keep that call, you know, or you know, they were made an offer that they cannot refuse, kind of deal, or the CEO just happens to know too much, and if they do let him go in the wrong state, he might just divulge that. So I can assume that if the pressure's going to be on, either Bobby Kotick's going to resign, not be fired, but resign and move to a more cozier part, maybe as, you know, cafeteria manager with the same salary, or he's gonna be fired, and then you're never gonna hear about him again. He's gonna essentially disappear and be buried. So yeah, we will see.
We'll see.
I hope. Change thing is, the nice thing about this is, doesn't matter. Activision-Blizzard cannot stop it. Change is happening. They need to realize where they need to stand if they still want the company to continue. They need to realize that they're kind of on the wrong side of this fence.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it does happen. Because... but, yeah, that's Activision-Blizzard. Hopefully shit changes, and next time I'm sure there'll be more fucking information. You never know. Maybe he gets fired. Maybe he doesn't. Fuck knows. We'll have to see. Oh God, so tired.
I don't think I don't think it's going to be that easy of, oh, he's going to get fired. I think there's going to be stupid shit. You know, I mean, there's also that thing that that Americans have that that's it. Once you, if you're involved in a case with specific charges, if that case then dismisses those charges, that court dismisses the charges, then they can never be brought up again. So,
yeah.
So for instance, if I had to harass somebody and then I was cleared of my charges, you cannot bring me into court again for harassing another person because we re-cleared those charges.
Well, I think if you were harassing a different person, then it's a different
Okay,
case.
but that I'm sorry, yes, my wording was wrong. If I had to harass the same person and they charged me again, they couldn't.
Yeah.
No, it's court.
But public opinion might just be enough, because shit's been going on for, I mean, fuck, when did we first mention all the Activision-Blizzard shit happening? Like,
I don't know, shit. I mean, it was you know,
fucking
this stuff came
months
the thing
ago.
Is, all of this comes out not because it's been getting worse. It's probably been the same insane levels of harassment. It's just that COVID when you can't go out because of the pandemic, you occupy your mind with other things. And to have, like, I'm pretty sure that they were on the stand for sexual harassment long before it became this big. But it's because everyone was too busy to actually pay attention. And now that people are paying attention to the whistleblowers who have been blowing whistles for years, I think now it's much more bigger, which is good. Not that we had to have a pandemic for it to get bigger. I'm just saying the fact that people are noticing is good.
Yeah, no, it is good.
Have the time to take the
it's what's step. Also it's kind of shit though is you can literally see that the only reason this is happening is because it's sustained. Like, more and more shit keeps happening. Ubisoft has, like, fucking slunk off. They've kept their heads down. And people don't even bring up the fact that they're also a bunch of shitheads who are, like, protecting abusers and stuff. You just don't bring it up. They're like, oh, no, it's fine. It's sorted. Leave it. Also, to me, this is a thing that fucks with my head as well with Activision-Blizzard. They've been protecting abusers for ages, where they do the thing where, say it's a manager who's been doing whatever. They'll move him to, like, a different department at a different studio. So they just move them around. That is what the Catholic Church did to protect sex offenders. What the
fuck? Oh, that's fucking hilarious. I didn't think of it like that. You are totally right. Holy shit.
It's just like, dude, that's what they fucking did. Word. Like, fucking molested some people here, so they moved it to, like, a different parish in a different city. Like, fuck, dude.
That's fucking hilarious. Oh my, I would never have thought of it like that. But you're right. It's they're not even new tactics. They're still using tactics from other old tactics.
And it isn't very good when you're going, who should we get inspiration from? The Catholics.
Because they've done nothing wrong.
No, never. How dare you? I'm a good... Okay, now I'm an atheist, but I'll pretend to be a Catholic for funsies, so...
Only in the bedroom.
Obviously. It's a very, very kinky play. So, that is actually all of our news for today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no,
that's nice.
Activision sort of engulfed a lot of it. There were a few news stories here and there, but nothing I felt was really particularly, nothing particularly big.
Mentioning.
So yeah, I think that is it. So I don't have anything else to add. If you have anything,
no. We've talked about a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of acquisitions.
There was. I was actually paying attention to the latest Battlefield release and how much the fans love it. If you have a moment, please go read the Steam reviews of it.
Are they cute?
It's funny. I'm gonna say it's funny because it's really like they promised so much, and the trailers were like, for the fans, by the fans. Fans came up with most of the content that they showed in the trailers, and that's what was so cool. Because it really felt like they were doing something for the fans. Yeah. How yeah.
So not been
apparently a lot of the features aren't in. Like, some of the features that you would think, some of the features that are in the old games haven't been, apparently they're going to be in the game, but they haven't been implemented yet, which is another one of those releasing a game
the live
that's
service
not
model.
finished. Yeah, it's I wouldn't even call it live service. It's just not finished.
Same thing.
Like it's disgusting how much these people try to sell you this idea that a game is finished, it's gonna be beautiful. Like, there was this one review that I think you will love of it. It's just like, this guy had one good thing to say about it. I will give him a mention, even though he'll probably never hear this ever. He's only a mention. the thing is, he had such a good start to his review that I couldn't help but just laugh at it. He had like, oh man, I can't find it now, but it was something like, at least I can connect to the game, like pros I connected smoothly, and then the cons is the rest of his review. And I'm talking about those sort of scrollable levels of content. You actually had to go read more and then scroll several times down to finish it. And it is bad. Like, it is real bad. Like, there are bugs in the game where you cannot respawn after being killed. And I'm just like, what? So I can get killed by somebody and I can't respawn because I was killed by them and there's a bug in the game. Which means that essentially I have to then leave the server, then come back to the server and wait in the queue to respawn. And you might find that Battlefield is actually a very popular game. So you might be in the server's queue until the game ends because the server's full and nobody wants to leave. So, it's bad.
Shame.
It's dung heap levels of bad.
Shame. I'm sure they did their best.
But please, I mean, the other Battlefields, like Battlefield 5 that I'm playing, is loaded with bad comments, bad reviews. But most of them it's gotten past the releases and stuff, so most of them are just complaining about the hackers, right? But people are just complaining about the game. They don't even fucking care about the hackers. I'm pretty sure the hackers they've gone from hackers to modders now because they're probably adding features to fix the game.
It does just make me laugh that they're like, it has no connectivity issues. Everything else is an issue though.
Yes. It is fucking sad.
Oh,
and
shame,
I couldn't help but laugh at that. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. You telling me that you could not properly make one game that, like, one anticipated game by fans that was released on time, and they just fucked it up. And it's just par for the course with these companies. I get it. You can't have everything your way because that's not how the world works, so on and so forth. I redirect you to those ideas.
Shame. Those poor puppies.
But it's funny. I mean, it's real funny because I honestly didn't expect much from them to start out with. Like, I didn't think that they were going to be good. Because I'm playing Battlefield 5. I've experienced what it has to offer in terms of accountability. Because you would think that, when players complain about hackers and stuff, that, DICE would do something, would put in measures to stop it, but they don't. And what makes it worse is that the DICE servers are few and far between, and there is a South African DICE server. I mean, the fact that there's a South African server is impressive on its own accord, but there's a South African server that shuts down at about 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, prime gaming time.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And it closes down. Then the players are left to do what? To go into community servers. And the thing about community servers is that you can't report hackers if the community server hosts are the hackers. So it's actually pretty fucked up. The more and more I think about it, you can't actually do anything about it because it's so fucked up. And yeah, so the games themselves have problems with the community, but when it's something so much that the game can't even run properly. I mean, they thought they'd be cool and they put points on top of skyscrapers. Right? Yeah, there are many means to get up to the skyscraper, but for the average foot soldier to get up on top of a skyscraper to capture a point is,
takes a while.
A bit difficult. Yeah, it takes a while. So yeah, I'm enjoying the news that's coming out of there. So that's just my thing. Not so, but then again, this and last year have been full of these duds. These big hype, big trailers, I mean, and yes, a lot of games were released broken or unfinished because of pressure. But when a game like Battlefield comes out, and it's known to be a pretty trash game in terms of community, but then it gets worse when you have to deal with fighting the fucking developers because the game doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, for me, Battlefield 5 is just barely playable because there are moments where genuinely I feel great, and if I can get onto a DICE server, it's amazing. But most of the time, community servers, there's a immediate hit that you get from joining it. It's like you go on and you know already that there are hackers because the play gap between the sides, because apparently the sides are shuffled. But I've been to 3 or 4 rounds where the opposite team have completely destroyed your team or the opposition. It's actually where you're like, okay, fine. There's been times where I get shot and be like, oh, how did he see me? But maybe the camera wasn't going fast enough, so I only saw the guy once he ducked behind a wall after he shot me. Fine. But then there are across map kills that I'm like, how? Because the game does actually have physics, so your bullet drops. So how can you shoot me from across the map unless you've really mastered that arcing of the bullet? And then I'm pretty sure it still has a fall off range. So, but then you get shot across maps, and you get shot when you're behind cover, or somebody happens to ping you when you're hiding and they drop a bomb on you. It's really like, I mean, there are times where you will go to capture a point, the side will defeat you, and basically you start the game capturing one point, then not even midway through the game, after you capture that point, you lose that point, and then for the rest of the game, it's you coming out of your spawn and being camped, because the entire enemy is now right at your spawn and you can't do anything. And when you try to sneak past, there are people that just happen to notice you from far away and kill you. So yeah, maybe I'm just being sour or salty, but yeah, hacks in those games. I can understand why in the reviews of Battlefield 5, for instance, people are complaining about hacks, because I've experienced it. I've experienced really amazing games where my squad is at the top. I've experienced games where I would go into the game, I've had weeks of just losing, and I'm just like, but why? How is it that I'm always put on the losing team, and whenever the game reshuffles, I'm always end up on the losing side? So I don't know.
The solution is single player games.
No. I still like it. I mean, hats off to Battlefield, because it really improved my FPS skills. Like I'm playing another game, taking a break from Battlefield, and I'm playing Gunfire Reborn. And I can already see that Battlefield has increased my skill of first-person shooters dramatically. Like, I am way better than what I was before, and I'm pretty sure it's not just something that I've only picked up for Battlefield. It's something that I can take over to most FPS games and use it. So it's just your reaction time, the ability to immediately go for what you would assume is a crit, which would normally be the headshots. So it's things like that really up your performance. So I did learn a lot from Battlefield, but man, the community is just, it's rough. I mean, I thought the For Honor community was toxic as fuck, that they were terrible, but hats off to For Honor than their community, because they are at least, behaved.
Could be worse. Battlefield. You could be playing Dota, so Dota or League of Legends, which
I still sometimes have little kids screaming over the microphone in Battlefield, but at least in For Honor it's too difficult for them, so little kids tend to stay away from For Honor.
Oh, shame.
But yeah, that's it from me.
Right.
That's all my bitching for today.
Bitching is good. I mean, I had my short bitching about ukulele. Actually, it was one thing which I find kind of funny. I've been playing, which I told you obviously, but I had a period of being like all the games I'm playing I'm not really enjoying. So I decided to play one I do like, Fallout 3. Been playing it. However, because I played it many times, I go in and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to first go and do the really boring shit. Like I'm going to go and collect like the bobbleheads and stuff to basically min-max. And then I'm going to carry on just exploring. And I skipped huge parts of the main quest because I like found vaults I wasn't supposed to. Like I found a thing. And because I'm sure you remember, you're supposed to find your dad in the game. That's like the main plot. And you're supposed to go all over the place to find him. I just went straight to the vault where he is and like saved him. And then he talks to me about things where I'm like, well, I remember this because I played the game before.
How did you manage that?
Yeah.
There's so many different obstacles on the way there.
Yeah.
How?
I just went there. I just walked.
You fucking loser.
But yeah,
You're supposed...
I like fun, and what's really funny to me is he's talking to me about shit that I'm like, I know this because I played it before, but if I was a first time player, I wouldn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Like your character just goes up to him and he's like, what is it called? The Eden kit, I think. Yeah. And your character could just be like, what about the Eden kits? I'm like, I haven't even heard about the Eden kits yet in this game. So how the fuck is my character saying this shit? It was great. I broke the game by mistake, which is always fun.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it.
I mean,
it's mindless.
Let's be honest. You would have, if you didn't play the game before, you would have followed along with the way the game was intended.
Pretty much, yeah.
You wouldn't have found that, but you thought that because you already played it, why not explore the world more?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, that's also what... Although, whenever you replay New Vegas, you kind of always go the way they intend, because if you go straight, you get killed by death claws. And...
If you go... And
there's fucking
if you go left,
it's which are scarier than death claws.
There is the thing is, there is its ups and downs because of how linear the starting of New Vegas is. But it never says no. You choose not to be killed by death claws, and I've actually made it through there without being I would say without being killed by death claws. So what I did is, right?
Save scum?
Sorry?
Save scum?
No. I sneaked past. That's all I did. I took it slowly, and I basically, you wait and it moves a little bit, and you're like, okay, you move a little bit, and yeah, I've snuck past.
Which is pretty well
death
done.
claws. Yeah, I just want to make this, just want to clarify. I snuck past death claws. I got past them. But they're raiders in the house. Not raiders, they are fiends.
Yes.
In the house just after them. I didn't get past them, but I got past the death claw. So it is possible, and if I wasn't as curious as I am, I wouldn't have gone to explore the house. I would have just gone past straight to the city. So yeah, it is possible.
It's possible, but difficult.
No one can do the other route though.
Yeah.
The Cassadars see you too fast.
Yes.
And you notice because you're like, it's moving, and then you just see this thing quickly come. It's like when I first did that and I saw the speed at which this thing was coming towards me, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then there's all those baby death claws also in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, but with Fallout 3 really isn't difficult. Like I'm not that far in. I'm probably like level... Fuck, I don't even know what level I am. But not that far. I shouldn't be able to... If I was playing New Vegas, there's no way I'd be able to fight death claws. I've killed a couple of death claws. Not really a problem. They don't make them that difficult in this. I think things scale with you in 3, so it's not really ever an issue. But anyway, so that's my spiel, your spiel. Shall we say tatas?
We've both given our sense to this.
We have at least 2.
Yes, at least 2.
At least 2. So, tell us about you. Tristan, do you have anything to plug or still not yet?
Nope. I actually haven't been. I've just got into a new job, so I'm focusing on that, and I haven't actually touched any work from that. So nothing to plug from me.
Disgusting.
I'm pretty sure you have loads to plug.
Yeah. So tomorrow, but it probably by the time this uploads, it'll have already passed. Will be the last of the short analysis videos, and then there's just going to be the compilation, which is just basically all of them in one video. It's nothing extra. It's just a little.
Are you making filler? You put them. Just put all the videos in a playlist. Don't give us filler content. What's wrong with you?
But anyway, after that will be more stuff, and I already basically have all sorts of shit planned for like next year. So I've been working on that. So should be fun.
And we might have something special planned for our final video of this year, won't we? 1 cent, Justin.
Possibly, yes. Very possibly.
We are working on something to end the year with.
I mean, either it'll be end of year or beginning of next year, depending.
It will be it should be end of year. I'm pretty sure we can do it for end of year.
Sure.
But we'll discuss more, let you guys know.
Yes.
About our big end of year video.
About our sex tape.
Oh no, you can catch that now. Just go straight down to I don't know, Pornhub. Yes, I think we uploaded it there.
That's the most reputable place. You do get the sketchy sites, so don't go to those.
I don't know. Hey, I mean, like most people don't even use sketchy sites. They probably just use social media.
Exactly. Anyway,
you can also catch 1 Cent Justin on his OnlyFans. That's LC Lupus on OnlyFans.
Obviously, on my OnlyFans. I would never go to OnlyFans. How dare you? They're currently removing sexual content from it. So why would I go there? It's a waste of my time. I'll just post dick pics elsewhere. I don't know, on Twitter or something. So, yes, but you can look Twitter LC_Lupus. Or is it just LC Lupus? It's LC Lupus. Just look LC Lupus. And the same with the YouTubes. Watch my videos, be indoctrinated into my political leanings. It's more entertaining that way. And I think that's everything.
Indeed.
All right. Well,
this
then.
This is where we say our goodbye.
Goodbye to all the people of the world. Maybe, if you still exist. If you don't.
And hopefully we will see you again a lot sooner.
Yes.
If someone gets their shit together. So yeah, we will see you soon.
I mean, I do enjoy gathering my shit, but yeah. Alright. Ta-ta everyone, and as per usual, I love you.